Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's video. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the critiquing tasks that we're doing and the critiquing piece of assessment. Now, firstly, in class, you're being assigned to critique groups, and how those critique groups choose to share their information with each other is entirely up to those groups. So if you've been emailing work backwards and forwards and emailing your responses backwards and forwards in those standard critique templates, then you're doing exactly the right thing. For those of you who are wanting extra feedback, or for those of you who haven't been assigned to a group in class, what we have is a discussion forum on our Blackboard site. And you can find this by going to Tools and then Discussion Forums on the Blackboard site, and you'll see the discussion forum there. Now, this is a place where you can enter and you can post your work for critique, and you can put up critiques of other people's work. It's an expectation, if you're putting your work up for critique there, that you also critique 3 other pieces using the standard critique template. So just bear in mind that this is a good resource if you're wanting extra feedback as well on your work. If you feel you'd like more feedback than you've gotten from your group, you can also, you're more than welcome to also use this space as a space to go and get extra feedback, but you will be expected to provide extra feedback as well. And the ratio is 3 of those critiques for every 1 of your submission that's made in those spaces. So please feel free to make use of that space. I think it's a really valuable resource and a good place to get additional input on your work if you want that. Now, how does the critique assessment work? So how it works is basically at the end of semester, you hand in a portfolio of the critiques that you've done over the course of the semester. Now, you're expected to do 3 critiques for this first critique round, and you'll note that part of the standard critique sheet is asking for when the critique was uploaded. So we're going to be looking to make sure that you've done at least 3 critiques in this first round of critiquing, and they're just the standard critiques. Then in our second round, when we've got our second short story up for critique, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing 2 of the standard critiques and 1 of an extended template that's a little bit more in-depth. So you'll just choose 1 story to give a more in-depth critique of, and you'll use a different template for that. Again, we're expecting a minimum of 2 standard critiques and 1 extended critique in that second round of critiques. So at the end of semester, you'll have a portfolio, and it may well be that you've done more critiques than just that minimum, particularly if you're making use of the discussion forum and some feedback from a group in a tutorial. At the end of the semester, you put all of those together into a portfolio, and then that gets handed in for assessment item 3. So that's how the assessment works, which has been one of the frequently asked questions that's come in this week. I'm going to keep this week's video nice and short because, as you can hear, there's some construction noise going on in the background. But that's how the assessment works, and that's what the expectation is. I just really want to make the point, if you are in, and if you have been assigned to an in-class critique group, I just want to make the point that you really do have a responsibility there to maintain contact with that group and to stay engaged with that group all the way through the critique process. One of the worst things you can do is be assigned to a group in class and then flake out on that group for the rest of semester, because it means they've lost a member of the group. It means the group isn't, you've broken the group essentially, because it means it won't be as functional, and we have to reshuffle groups and things like that. There's always a little bit of that goes on, but please take your commitment to your classmates seriously. And if you have been assigned to a group in the tutorials, please make sure you fulfill your obligation to your fellow students, to give them really good feedback, to give them timely feedback so that they've got plenty of time to rework their stories before the submission is due. And that you remain engaged with the group. Even if you aren't able to make all of the tutorials themselves, please make sure that you're staying engaged online via email or Facebook or whatever other way your group has agreed to swap content. Please make sure that you keep up your commitments with the group. is the only other thing I'd like to say. Okay, thanks very much. I hope you enjoy this week's lecture content, and I hope you're having a lovely week in this beautiful sunny weather. Thanks.